Too many people in life have personal change because of what I call heart attack incidents. Sometimes that's actually a heart attack. Often it's something else that's an extreme event that sort of brings the tumblers into alignment and creates all kinds of personal change for somebody. What a shame to wait for a heart attack before you actually make change in yourself. But why does that happen for people? Because changing yourself is tough, right? How do we become who we are? Sort of incrementally. We build up habits, we build up routines, we make all kinds of day-to-day choices that shape ourselves. But I think the first question is intentionally, who are you trying to be? And then second of all, if you really want to be that person, can you exert effort to shape yourself that way? And without having to rely on some life-changing or shifting event that gets you to question all your priorities.
My guess is that if you think about the times in your life when you were able to make a big change, it's because it mattered. This behavior is about making what matters matter. Because what keeps us motivated to make lasting change is how we impose meaning and value onto new ideas and actions.
Identity has a powerful influence on the changes we are potentially able to make. Who we want to be and who we think we are exerts an influence over what we're willing to do. So we know that a lot of leaders and people try to make changes based on the effects they think they're going to have with those changes. And that's certainly a noble pursuit. We don't try new things in order not to have effect. But when you do them only for effect, what you find is that people normally resist what you do. Number one, you don't become masterful at that particular habit or change because you don't do them very often. You only do them when you want the effect. And then second, people know that that's not normally you. And so they resist that. They want to know why you're doing something in order to have some level of influence. In contrast to that, the best leaders decide first, who am I trying to be, and do I really want to be that thing? Is this the leader that I want to be? So if you're trying a new behavior or to create a new change, one of the first steps is to decide that it's the identity you want, and that giving yourself motivation around that identity is something that will give you a springboard to make change.
And the answer is that's hard to do, which is why so few people change. Research shows that 80% of people who have triple bypass surgery refuse to change diet or exercise 3 years after their operation. Now understand, these people have a prognosis that they will die if they don't change these habits. So they actually they choose death over salads. Well, why is that? Well, there's all kinds of neurological and biochemical reasons why. But the bottom line is you have to view yourself as a work under construction. And if you're a work under construction, then you recognize that making yourself the leader that you are is a job, it's an obligation. And there's all kinds of things we can do to make lasting change in ourselves.
So am I the kind of person that wants to go forward with my criticism? Is that who I want to be as a leader? Am I the type of leader that wants to expand credit and give other people peripheral to my success the acknowledgement that I should? Is that who I want to be? And when you find that leaders and people who want to be something and choose to be that thing, not for effect, but because that's the identity they want to project to themselves and to the world, it's a foundation for making great change. Without that identity, without that notion of who you want to be, it's very difficult to sustain change over time, because you're going to run in against people that resist adversity, times where the change you're trying to make doesn't work as well as you'd like, and so forth. And to overcome that, you're going to need to see lots of success.
And hey, it's not hard for me either. I mean, I tried something last year, 30 days of focus. I focused something on hard. Well, guess what? 30 days isn't enough for me, right? I need more like 60 or maybe 90. That's me. But with 90 days of focus, I can change something that I used to do. I get a lot more sleep than I used to. That was one of my 90 days of focus. But the bottom line is, you have to be willing to exert the time and the energy to shape yourself into the person that you're trying to be and the leader that you're trying to be. I know people who lead people in organizations who spend more time learning how to play tennis than they do learning how to lead. They spend more time on cooking as a discipline they're trying to cultivate in themselves than they do their leadership. So we often say you are what you do, and you are most consistently the things you do most often. It takes time and effort to change what you do most often, but you have to take on the challenge, and then you have to be willing to put in the time and effort to reshape yourself so that you become the leader that you want to be and not the leader that you are.
And in many cases, it takes a long time for us to gain the successes we want over the new changes or new behaviors. And so decide this is who you want to be as a leader first before you do anything else related to change. So when you change your identity, you decide who you want to be as a leader, it helps produce the changes that you want to make. It closes the gap between who you are now, who you want to be, and who you become. And so it's a becoming line of change.
Something I tell people I work with when we talk about this is that leadership is a two-part choice. First of all, other people have to choose to follow you. So, and what does that mean? It means I'm willing to give you some hand in my consequences, personal, commercial, whatever they might be. I'm acceding to you something, control, authority, decision-making, mentorship. And I'm choosing to support that and to take some risk on you as a leader to bring you someplace. But there's another part to that. There's a second choice, which is I'm choosing to lead you. And have I decided that that's what I want to be? And sometimes people will say to me, well, are we talking about a world where there's only leaders and no followers? And I don't think so. And the best leaders I've seen don't sort of shoulder their way to the front of the room and say, I'm here now, and their Superman suit is underneath or whatever it might be. But what they do is their self-identity includes leadership. That they believe they've made the decision at some point that this is who they're going to be. And what does that mean? Not that they choose to get in front of people. What I see it means to them is that they're going to take a personal responsibility for other people's success. That their view is that what as I do as a leader is I make you successful. I help you achieve your outcomes. If you achieve your outcomes, my outcomes are self-assured. Well, I have to choose to sign up for that because that's a personal obligation, right? That's a responsibility. And so really, I make a decision to say, okay, this is the person I'm going to be. I'm going to be a person who tries to help other people be successful. I'm going to be somebody who makes other people better, helps them achieve their outcomes. And that's now they still have to make the choice to follow me, right? But first I have to make the choice to lead them. And what's interesting is I see people make that self-identity choice at work because they're given positional authority. They really have no choice. You now manage a department of 100 people. I guess you better start leading people. But they haven't made the decision to lead their families. They haven't made the decision to lead their kids. Look, my parents are 86 and 84. I'm leading them into old age now. What does that mean? Their last chapter, I want it to be the best last chapter it can be. That's about who I decide to be, right? That's my question. Other people choose to follow you, but you have to choose to lead them. And that means you're choosing that this is who you are going to become. And the beautiful thing about life is we can make self-directed choices, right? We can author our own books. Lots of people don't, right? The best leaders do.